All right, good morning, good morning. This is Dr. King coming at you from 800 Link Apartments. And today's topic is going to be how to schedule college courses. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July weekend. Off to college, and I do have one. There are things that they're going to have to learn how to do. It doesn't mean that you don't have to be a part of it. You do. Your mom, your dad, you're going to have to help them do things like apply for college. Hopefully at this point they've already done that, have already gotten accepted. But they also have to schedule their classes. This is not high school. They don't get, they don't pick their classes and then a schedule is generated for them and they're given a schedule on the first day in homeroom. That's not how college works. The way college works is that you get your schedule, or you get your classes. You have to figure out what your degree plan is, see what classes are needed, and schedule classes. And this is kind of what this is about. We're going to talk about, regardless to what school you are at, how do you schedule your classes. Don't miss anything. So the first thing that you have to do, doesn't matter, you have to decide on your major. There was a time, and every now and then you will still see it, but on most college campuses you won't, but you have to declare a major. And your major is, what are you wanting to do as a career? So whether you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a professional athlete, school teacher, whatever, computer technologist, whatever, computer science, it doesn't matter. You have to declare a major when you go to college, because you have to take certain classes that relate to that major. And wanted to do, they went in as what they considered an undeclared major. Well, an undeclared major helps you by way of, you still are scheduled to take your core courses, because no matter what degree plan you declare, you have to take core courses: English, math, science, history, that type of thing. But where the undeclared comes in is you don't take classes that equate to any major, earning credits for any major towards any degree. Well, they're trying to do away with that now, and so now a lot of colleges will not allow you to come in without a declared major, period. So you have to declare your major. Number two, you have to determine the number of courses needed for that degree, for that major. So for most undergrad degrees, I think it's like 120 hours. I know when I was in college it was 120 hours. I'm not sure what it is now. Four years and 8 semesters, a minimum of, because you have your spring and your fall semester. But some schools also have summer semesters, so it could be 4 years over 12 semesters. It just depends on how long you want to go to school. And then some schools, they go to school year round. Every so many weeks they start a new class, but you have to have so many credit hours. And so in high school, a lot of times you now have high schools that have what's called endorsements, because when you're getting prepared for college, it starts back at high school. And so they have endorsements, and they have different endorsements: culinary, STEM courses, business, health. The whole, if you guys have been following me, I have a whole presentation on dual credit, dual enrollment, pre-AP and AP classes, where you have the opportunity to earn college credit. And so you'll start preparing in high school, not only just taking the classes that you need to graduate high school, but you're also taking the classes that you need to introduce you to your potential major in college. And if you're lucky, you will also be able to take dual credit or dual enrollment courses to also earn additional college credit in addition to your high school credit. That all gets you prepared. And when you, with a dual credit and dual enrollment, remember you're earning college credit, so when you go off to college, those are just less courses that you have to take because you've already taken them and you've already earned credit, less tuition. And so after you get that, you graduated high school, if you've taken some dual credit or dual enrollment courses, you've earned extra credit, you now move on to preparing to register courses. As long as you have not received an your degree. So in order to do that, you have to prepare to register for classes. And so what you do is once you declare your major, you then obtain a list of the coursework that's needed to complete that major. That's not only just your core courses, but also the specific courses that are needed to complete that undergrad degree for that major. And then you know the number of minimum hours that you have to take per semester. Some schools is only 12. Some schools major that you're declaring a major that works for you, not for mom, not for dad, not for grandma, not for your coach. You are declaring a major that works for you because this is your career. This is your career, and you want the skills and education necessary to be successful at the career that you have chosen. Not mom, not dad, not grandma, not grandpa, not brother, sister, coach, no, whoever. Declare the major that you want. And so when you do that, you will sit down with an advisor if necessary, and they will help you understand what's going to be required of you. You're doing what's best for you. That's the whole point of meeting with an advisor. Make sure that you're scheduled for the right classes, and make sure that you understand that with the classes, they start lowest level and go up to the highest level. So let's say English. When I was in college, it was English 101, English 102. You had English 201, English 202. It just depends on, everybody takes English 101, 102. That's just basic English. Well, now it could be 1301, 1302. It could be all different. But whatever it is, it's going to always start at the lowest level. The lowest level of the class, and it moves up to the higher level. So you got your freshman level, sophomore, junior, senior. It's the same thing as high school. And so you'll talk with your advisor. They'll tell you what starting classes that you need to start in. So you're going to take an English class, you're going to take a math class, you're going to take a science class, you're going to take a history class, just like high school. And then you'll take one or two classes that pertain to your major. Courses. your freshman year, unless you have already taken those classes in high school. Now, if you were in high school or currently in high school or graduated high school and you were in a collegiate program, then you've taken those classes already, because that's pretty much what the collegiate college is: high school courses and then the first year or two of college, period. And so then once you figure out and you've met with your advisor, you need to pull up a copy of the campus map. This is going to be your best friend. You need a copy of the map. I don't care if it's in color. I don't care if it's in black and white. You need a copy of the campus map. Why? Because you want to be able to, when you pull up the schedule, it's going to tell you where the classes are located, and you want to be able to look on the campus map and see where those buildings are. You do you don't know how far that's going to be, so you want to make sure that when you're scheduling your classes and trying to get the classes lined up and everything for the times and everything, that you also look at where those buildings are located on the map. So on this map, you don't want to take a class. Let's go down here, because the buildings are right here. So you don't want to be in a class here and then at 8 o'clock and then at 9 o'clock your class is way down here. See what I'm saying? You want to take a class that say is here, and then in your 9 o'clock class maybe over here, your 11 o'clock class maybe here, something like that. Or you don't want to take a class where the building is here and then your next class and then you'll get on the campus and find out that the campus, that map is kind of that you know about the campus when you're scheduling these classes, because you want to know how far apart these buildings are. How far does it take to walk from one building to another, from one side of the campus to another, from the dorm to the campus. You want to know these things. And so you pull up the campus map and know where the buildings are and the courses that you need to take, where are those buildings. And then you determine the specific classes, determine whether or not you have to take specific classes at specific times. So remember a couple of weeks ago when we talked about the living learning communities. Well, in the living learning communities, those students are going to all be declaring the same major, and there's going to be classes different sections of English 101. You see what I'm saying? It's not just one English class. There's one English umbrella class, but up under that umbrella you may have 50 different sections of that class. That means that there's different days and different hours that that class is offered. That's what a section is. You have a course and you have a section of that course. The course may be Engineering 101, then a section may be Section 10. That just means that's class number 10. There are 9 other classes before it at 9 different times. So you want to make sure to know whether or not you have to take specific classes on specific days or specific times, depending on your major, depending on whether or not you have scholarship or requirements you have to meet, or you're in an LLC, or you're in like okay, I can't take any other 11 a.m. class on Tuesday because I have to be in this class at 11 a.m. That's what that means. So you always make sure to determine first off what classes, if any, you have to be in on a certain day at a certain time. And then you take the college map after you've figured out, your schedule and your classes. And I'm not saying you've already enrolled yourself. I'm saying you figured out what classes that you have to take for that semester. You then take that map and figure out where those classes are. Where's my English class in relation to my science class, in relation to my math class, in relation to my engineering class? Where's the dorm cafeteria? Where's the dining hall? Because at some point you also have to eat. So those are things that you want to make sure that you have the campus map with you to check and know where these buildings are in relation to each other, so you'll know where your classes are in relation to each other. And then you take the college list and look up the days and times. We pretty much already talked about this. I'm going down my list to make sure that I don't forget anything. So you look up your days and times. And I was the person, I never, for a lot of college students, they don't have a choice to register for an 8 o'clock class. When we were in college, all of our classes were 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, things like that in the day. So if you're not an 8 o'clock in the morning person, then don't take an 8 o'clock class. Figure out what time you want to start your classes, but you also got to figure out what's the last time of the day that you can take a class, because you may not be a morning person, but you need to make sure that you know what the sections are and what those days and times are for the class, because if you need to get that class and you're not a morning person and you say, hey, I'll take that class later on in the evening, you better make sure that you don't forget that you have that class and you need to take that class. So when you start scheduling, what days of the week do I want to take this class? You have Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. You have Tuesday, Thursday classes. You have some classes that only meet on Mondays. You have some classes that only meet on Wednesdays. You have some classes that only meet on Fridays. Some classes that only meet on Tuesdays. Some classes that only meet on Thursdays. There are some classes that only meet on Saturdays. There's a lot that goes in to creating your college schedule, and then, that's what I'm talking about. You create it on your wants and needs. Your wants and needs are basically, do I want an 8 o'clock class? If not, hey, what's the earliest I want to start going to class every day? Maybe you want to start going to class at 9 o'clock every day, and that's fine. You just got to make sure that you schedule that, because the 8 o'clock class means you need to get up about 6, because you got to get dressed, you have to eat breakfast, and you have to walk. And depending on how far the dorm is to your first class, that could be a 5-minute walk, that could be a 20-minute walk. See? So, or if you have a car, you got to drive from one part of the campus to the other. You got to park depending on where your parking pass is, and then you still got to get out of the car and walk to your class. So those are things that you have to consider when you start talking about your schedule. What days you want to go to class, what times you want to go to class, how far you got to walk, what times you have to get up, what days are the class offered, there are just so many factors that are involved. Now, your regular core courses, English, math, science, those classes are going to be offered all day. But you may have from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock Saturday to take your exam. Those are things that you have to know. Okay, so there's a lot that goes into scheduling a class, and those are things that you want to consider. And then once you have figured out your coursework, figured out your major, figured out your coursework, figured out the days of the week and the days and times that you want to schedule your classes, you have gone into the system, because every university, every college has a system that they use where you go in and create your schedule. You enroll for your classes, and it may be a schedule planner, it can be whatever, but what happens is you go in, you put the course code that you need, like chemistry 101, maybe CHEM 101, and you put that in there. It's going to pull up all the sections of chemistry 101 days and times. Well, once again, after you've determined when you want to start your first class for the day and all of that type of stuff, you go in and you pick your classes, and if it's a really good designed schedule system, it's going to show you whether or not, once you have everything put in, whether you have overlapping time. realize you're already in a class at 10 o'clock and that class doesn't end at 10:50. It'll show you whether or not there are overlapping classes that. So once you have gone through all of that, make sure that you actually submit that schedule. Don't just go in and spend all of that time, and it can take you hours. If you don't know how to use the schedule system, it can take you hours to schedule, to first use the schedule. The more that you use it, the easier you get. But the first 1 or 2 times that you use a new schedule system on a college campus, it could take you an hour or 2 or 3 or 4, just because you want to make sure that you're doing it right. But don't go through all of that and spend all of that time and not submit your schedule and enroll yourself. And the system will tell you, and a lot of times they'll have all kind of warnings all on all the pages, especially when it comes to saving, and you did submit it, you're not enrolled. So make sure that you enroll, save, and submit your courses so that you're enrolled. And then print that schedule off, because you want to have a copy of that schedule. You want to be able to finish, especially once you move into the dorm and before classes start. You want to be able to walk around to each building and see where your classes are. Once again, you want to manage your time. You want to know how far it is from the dorm to my first class on this day, how far it is from the dorm to the second class, how far it is from my second to my third class. So you want to take that schedule, take that map, take both of these, because here's a copy of a schedule before it's enrolled. That's, my daughter's figured out, hey, I need these classes, and these are the classes I'm going to need for the fall semester. Here's the campus map. Now she's registered, and that's your printed out enrolled confirmation that you've registered for the classes. So now you want to take this schedule, which is your enrolled schedule, and you want to take the campus map, and now you want to walk the campus and find out where those buildings are and how long is it going to take you to get to those buildings, because you want to do all of that before school starts. Be proactive and not reactive. Know where your classes are, know where you have to be on to walk from your dorm to the classes. Know how much time that you have to eat breakfast. Know how much time you're going to need to eat lunch. How much time you're going to need to eat dinner. What are the dining hall hours? Those are things that you want to know, so when you create your schedule and enroll yourself, you've factored in eating breakfast, eating lunch, and eating dinner. Because some people go to class at night, and so they have to eat dinner before they go to class, because when they come out, the dining hall is closed. So things like that. And then big thing. Do not buy any books until after you have gone to your first class, unless until you actually go to the first 1 or 2 classes, because you're going to get a syllabus, and the professor and you are a college student, you're going to need extra money, so mom and dad's not sending you money all the time. That you bought 5 books for a class and you really only needed the main text, because every class a lot of times will come with a primary text, and then you have supplementary information that you will need, like supplementary chapters or supplementary books or whatever. Make sure that supplementary stuff is actually needed, or you can't just go out on the internet and find it somewhere. If you just need that main text, that's fine, but sometimes you may not even need that. Sometimes the professor may say, hey, go out on the internet and find this book, and give you the page numbers. Some do that. I do it with my students. So make sure that before you purchase a book or purchase, text for your classes, that you actually need them. So that's pretty much the goal to scheduling your classwork. Do what you need to do in high school to be prepared for determine if you have to take any classes at any specific times. Meet with an advisor if you need to. Take the college map and determine where those buildings are located for your classes that you need. And remember, your first year, your first semester, you're probably taking introductory classes because that's your first time. Unless, once again, you were in a collegiate college and high school and you've already taken those classes. We're not talking about that. We're talking about first year incoming freshmen. Your first year is probably going to be 101 classes or 1300 classes. Those are all the basic primary step one. English 101s, history 101, government 101, math 101. They all have different names, but they are the entry level classes. You take that map, find out the buildings that those classes are located in and how far they are from your dorm if you're living on campus or whatever. And then you take that college list and look up the days and times that I want to be in class. And sometimes you don't have a choice to take an 8 o'clock class, but if you're given a choice and you can take a 10 o'clock class versus 8 o'clock class, that's up to you. You have that option, but you want to be able to start managing your time. And then after you factored in your wants and needs, make sure that you save and submit your schedule. That way you have now enrolled into those classes. Then once you've enrolled and it gives you a confirmation, you print that schedule off. Print 2 copies if you need one. Always keep a copy on you. Keep a copy posted up in your dorm room somewhere. And last thing, do not buy any any textbooks until you go to at least your first class. Sometimes it takes your first or the second class, but definitely do not buy any textbooks until you've at least gotten to your first class, met your instructor, and find out what he or she requires that you need for textbooks and supplemental information and things like that. So I hope that this has helped you and giving you some insight on things. If you need me, you know how to email me, 800-EDUCATOR-BRIDGET@TICommunities.com. If you know me personally, you can call me or whatever. If you live in 800 Link, you know where to find me. But that is all that I have for you guys today. Next Thursday, we will be talking about the emotional side of things, because as parents, we're going to miss you guys too when you go off to college, and we're going to discuss that next Thursday. So I want to say have a great rest of your week, have a great weekend, and I will see you guys all next Thursday at 11 a.m. right here on Facebook Live. Bye bye.